Chapter 6. The trial, Gal supposed it to be one, though it bore little resemblance logistically to the elaborate trial techniques that Gal had read of, had not lasted long. It was in its third day, yet already Gal could no longer stretch his memory back far enough to embrace its beginning. He himself had but... Shit. Sorry, gonna take a drink of water. Oh, shit, I need to turn streamer mode back on before somebody messages me and it's super loud. How are you, Matt?
I'm alright.
Okay, just checking in.
Alright. I was actually about to join the thing since I am probably the only mod that's actually on right now.
Oh, the stream? Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. People will start to like this, I'm sure. It's just we gotta take a second to get there. Gotta recruit. Gotta push. Anyway. Fuck. Your moderator has arrived! Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Okay. He himself had been but little pecked at. The heavy guns were trained on Dr. Selden himself. Hari Selden, however, sat there unperturbed. To Gal, he was the only spot of stability remaining in the world. The audience was small and drawn exclusively from among the barons of the empire. Press and public were excluded, and it was doubtful that any significant number of outsiders even knew that a trial of Selden was being conducted. The atmosphere was one of unrelieved hostility toward the defendants. 5 of the Commission of Public Safety sat behind the raised desk. They wore scarlet and gold uniforms and the shining, close-fitting plastic caps that were the sign of their judicial function. In the center was the Chief Commissioner Ling Chen. Gal had never before seen so great a lord, and he watched him with fascination. Chen, throughout the trial, rarely said a word. He made it quite clear that much speech was beneath his dignity. The Commission's advocate consulted his notes, and the examination continued, with Selden still in the stand. Question. Let us see, Dr. Selden. How many men are now engaged in the project of which you head? 8. Answer. 50 mathematicians. Question. Including Dr. Gal Dornick. Answer. Dr. Dornick is the 51st. Question. Oh, we have 51 then. Search your memory, Dr. Selden. Perhaps there are 52 or 53, or perhaps even more. Answer. Dr. Dornick has not yet formally joined my organization. When he does, the membership will be 51. It is now 50, as I have said. Question. Not perhaps nearly 100,000. Answer. Mathematicians? No. Question. I did not say mathematicians. Are there 100,000 in all capacities? Answer. In all capacities, your figure may be correct. Question. Maybe? I say it is. I say that men in your project number 98,572. Answer. I believe you are counting women and children. Question. Raising his voice. 98,572 individuals is the intent of my statement. There is no need to quibble. Answer. I accept the figures.
Wounds.
What's up?
28 stab wounds.
28 stab wounds! Yes. Question, referring to his notes. Let us drop that for the moment. Then take up another matter which we have already discussed at some length. Would you repeat, Dr. Selden, your thoughts concerning the future of Trantor? Answer. I have said, and I say again, that Trantor will lie in ruins with the next 3 centuries. Question. You do not consider your statement a disloyal one? Answer. No, sir. Scientific truth is beyond loyalty and disloyalty. Question. You are sure that your statement represents scientific truth? Answer. I am. Question. On what basis? Answer. On the basis of the mathematics of psychohistory. Question. Can you provide that this mathematics is valid? Answer. Only to another mathematician. Question. With a smile. Your claim, then, is that your truth is so historic a nature that it is beyond the understanding of a plain man? It seems to me that truth should be clearer than that, less mysterious, more open to the mind. Answer. It presents no difficulties to some minds. The physics of energy transfer, which we know as thermodynamics, has been clear and true enough all the history of man since the mythical ages. Yet there may be people present who would find it impossible to design a power engine. People of high intelligence, too. I doubt if the learned commissioners... At this point, one of the commissioners leaned toward the advocate. His words were not heard, but the hissing of the voice carried a certain asperity. Asperity, I think, is hostility, essentially. Let me check. I want to know. A harshness of tone or manner. The advocate flushed and interrupted Selden. Question. We are not here to listen to speeches, Dr. Selden. Let us assume that you have made your point. Let me suggest to you that your predictions of disaster might be intended to destroy public confidence in the imperial government for purposes of your own. Answer. That is not so. Question. Let me suggest that you intend to claim that a period of time preceding the so-called ruin of Trantor will be filled with unrest of various types. Answer. This is correct. Question. And that by the mere prediction thereof you hope to bring it about, and to have then an army of 100,000 available. Answer. In the first place, that is not so, and if it were, investigation will show you that barely 10,000 are men of military age, and none of these has training in any arms. Question. Are you acting as an agent for another? Answer. I am not in the pay of any man, Mr. Advocate. Mr. Advocate! Sorry. Question. You are entirely disinterested. You are serving science. What?
Sorry, a delayed reaction, South Park reference.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said the exact same sentence I did, and I freaked out. Anyway, that's fine. It was kind of funny. Answer. I am. Question. Then let us see how. Can the future be changed, Dr. Selden? Answer. Obviously. This courtroom may explode in the next few hours, or it may not. If it did, the future would undoubtedly be changed in some minor respects. Question. You quibble, Dr. Selden. Can the overall history of the human race be changed? Answer. Yes. Question. Easily? Answer. No, with great difficulty. Question. Why? Answer. The psychohistoric trend of a planet full of people contains a huge inertia. To be changed, it must be met with something possessing a similar inertia. Either as many people must be concerned, or if the number of people be relatively small, enormous time for change must be allowed. Do you understand? Question. I think I do. Trantor need not be ruined if a great many people decide to act so that it will not. Answer. That is not. Question. Answer. That is right. I misread not. Question. As many as 100,000 people? Answer. No, sir. That is far too few. Question. You are sure? Answer. Consider that Trantor has a population of over 40 billions. Consider further that the trend leading to ruin does not belong to Trantor alone, but as to the Empire as a whole, and the Empire contains nearly a quintillion human beings. And question. I see. Perhaps 100,000 people could change the trend if they and their descendants labor for 300 years. Answer. I'm afraid not. 300 years is too short a time. Question. In that case, Dr. Selden, we are left with a deduction to be made from your statements. You have gathered 100,000 people within the confines of your project. Hello. Sorry. These are insufficient to change the history of Trantor within 300 years. In other words, they cannot prevent the destruction of Trantor no matter what they do. Answer. You are unfortunately correct. Question. And on the other hand, your 100,000 are intended for no illegal purpose. Answer. Exactly. Question. Slowly and with satisfaction. In that case, Dr. Selden, now attend, sir, most carefully, for we want a considered answer. What is the purpose of your 100,000? The advocate's voice had grown strident. He had sprung his trap, backed Selden into a corner, driven him astutely from any possibility of answering. There was a rising buzz of conversation at that which swept the ranks of the peers in the audience and invaded even the row of commissioners. They swayed toward one another in their scarlet and gold, only the chief remaining uncorrupted. Harry Selden remained unmoved. He waited for the babble to evaporate. Answer. To minimize the effects of that destruction. Question. And exactly what do you mean by that? Answer. The explanation is simple. The coming destruction of Trantor is not an event in itself. Isolated in the scheme of human development, it will be the climax to an intricate drama which has begun centuries ago and which is accelerating in a pace continuously. I refer, gentlemen, to the developing decline and fall of the Galactic Empire. The buzz now became a dull roar. The advocate, unheeded, was yelling, "You are openly declaring that," and stopped because the cries of treason from the audience showed that the point had been made without any hammering. Slowly, the chief commissioner raised his gavel once and let it drop. The sound was that of a mellow gong. When the reverberation ceased, the gabble of the audience also did. The advocate took a deep breath. Question, theatrically. Do you realize, Dr. Selden, that you are speaking of an empire that has stood for 12,000 years? Though, through all the vicissitudes of the generations, and which has behind it the good wishes and love of a quadrillion human beings. Answer. I am aware both of the present status and the past history of the empire. Without disrespect, I must claim a far better knowledge of it than any in this room. Question. And you predict its ruin? Answer. It is a prediction which is made by mathematics. I pass no moral judgments. Personally, I regret the prospect. Even if the empire were admitted to be a bad thing, an admission I do not make, The state of anarchy which would follow its fall would be worse. It is the state of anarchy which my project is pledged to fight. The fall of empire, gentlemen, is a massive thing. However, and not easily fought, it is dictated and by a rising bureaucracy, a receding initiative, a freezing of caste, a damming of curiosity, 100 other factors. It has been going on, as I have said, for centuries, and it is too majestic and massive a movement to stop. Question. It is not obvious to anyone that the empire is as strong as it ever was. Answer. The appearance of strength is all about you. It would seem to last forever. However, Mr. Advocate, the rotten tree trunk, until the very moment when the storm blast breaks it in two, has all the appearance of might it ever had. The storm blast whistles through the branches of the empire even now. Listen with the ears of psychohistory, and you will hear the creaking. Question. Uncertainly. We are not here, Dr. Selden, to this. The empire will vanish and all its good with it. Its accumulated knowledge will decay and the order it has imposed will vanish. Interstellar wars will be endless. Interstellar trade will decay. Population will decline. Words will touch and the main body of the galaxy, and so matters will remain. Question. Forever? Psychohistory, which can predict the fall, can make statements concerning the succeeding Dark Ages. The Empire, gentlemen, as has just been said, has stood 12,000 years. The Dark Ages to come will endure not 12, but 30,000 years. A second empire will rise, but between it and our civilization will be 1,000 generations of suffering humanity. We must fight that. You contradict yourself. You said earlier that you could not prevent the destruction of Trantor, hence presumably the fall, the so-called fall of the Empire. I do not say now that we can prevent the fall, but it is not yet too late to shorten the interim which will follow. It is possible, gentlemen, to reduce the duration of anarchy to a single millennium. If my group is allowed to act now, we are at a delicate moment in history. The huge, onrushing mass of events must be deflected just a little. Just a little. It cannot be much, but it may be enough to remove 29,000 years of misery from human history. How do you propose to do this? By saving the knowledge of the race. The sum of human knowing is beyond any one man, any 1,000 men. With the destruction of our social fabric, science will be broken into 1,000,000 pieces. Individuals will know much of exceedingly tiny facets of what there is to know. They will be helpless and useless by themselves. The bits of lore, meaningless, will not be passed on. They will be lost through the generations. But if we now prepare a giant summary of all knowledge, it will never be lost. Coming generations will build on it and will not have to rediscover it for themselves. 1 millennium will do the work of 30,000. All my project, my 30,000 men with their wives and children are devoting themselves to the preparation of an Encyclopedia Galactica. They will not complete it in their lifetimes. I will not even live to see it fairly begun. But by the time Trantor falls, it will be complete and copies will exist in every major library in the galaxy. The Chief Commissioner's gavel rose and fell. Hari Seldon left the stand and quietly took his seat next to Gal. To talk about that. Now, sorry I couldn't pause and welcome Bad Cat properly, if you're here. This story is called Foundation, and it is science fiction, and it is about preserving human knowledge. It's a scientific idea that if we were to make some sort of third world nation, maybe third party nation, and dedicate it to science entirely, funded by everyone, maybe we will never have to suffer knowledge degradation. It's great. And honestly, I think I read that pretty well. I'm just saying. I'm proud of myself. And it's a great book, man. It is the best shit. What did you think, Why? Or did you turn me down?
What?
What did you think about that? The reading.
Oh. Sorry, I was only kind of half paying attention.
Okay.
A friend of mine was having a panic attack.
Understandable. Good reason. Sorry, I was like really into that. Sorry.
You're fine.
I think I read that really well. It's a shame that this person, Bad Cat 5, seems to not have stayed. Anyway, onwards. He smiled and said, "How did you like the show?" Gal said, "You stole it." But what will happen now? They'll adjourn the trial and try to come to a private agreement with me. How do you know?